I'm going to beat every PS2 game ever made. There are over 4,000 PS2 games, so is this even possible? Let's find out. We are going to kick off this adventure with none other than Cars. Released in June 2006 by THQ, the game was obviously based on the movie by the same name. Even though it was based on the movie, the game is set after the events of so. I don't usually look at ratings in video games, but I thought it would be fun to see them throughout this series. And honestly, Cars doesn't have a terrible score, sitting at 71 on Metacritic, which won't upset. It's kind of like a junior sandbox approach that younger gamers will enjoy. And a respectable 81 from the users, where 5.0 said, "To be honest, I can very hardly ask for anything else to be improved." But it's not all just flowers, cause Jake the Snack said the following: "The racing can be fun, but other than that, there is not much to do in the game." People seem divisive, so let's find out what I think. The game starts out and we are obviously the man himself, Lightning McQueen, in quite a big open world, which is obviously based on the city of Radiator Springs. Later on, we can actually visit and play around Ornament Valley and Tailfin Pass. I'm just going to mention the plot because that's not really the focus of this video, so plot is around getting Lightning McQueen his first ever Piston Cup championship. For that to happen, we have to beat 19 road races, 8 minigames, which I will talk about more in a second, and 5 Piston Cup races, which are just NASCAR type races, you know. So what are these minigames that I talked about? As I mentioned before, we have a total of 8 minigames, plus 2 semi-minigames if you can even say that, but I'll explain it in a bit. I'm not going to say them in order of the story, but here they are. Lizzie's Postcard Hunt, which is just collectibles spread along the 3 maps, with some places hard to reach, and it's actually very cool to explore it. Tractor Tipping, which is my personal favorite. This one has us playing as Mater in some stealth levels, and you guessed it, the objective is to tip some tractors. Doc's Lesson. This one is basically just learning how to drift on the iconic location from the movie, which is actually pretty cool. Pit Stop Challenge. The name explains it itself. We play as Ghetto, and you guessed the objective already, right? We just have to perform a pit stop as fast as we can. Obviously, we can only perform this minigame on the NASCAR type races that I talked about before. Luigi to the Rescue. This one is quite boring. We play as Luigi, which is actually pretty cool, but we just have to collect some tires spread along the map. It's cool and all, but it's very boring, in my opinion. Sarge's Boot Camp. This one is actually pretty cool. Instead of racing normally, we have to go through an obstacle course created by the Sarge, so it's actually cool. Mater's Backward Lesson is basically a race, but you just perform the race backwards. It's that simple. Sheriff's Hot Pursuit. Hell yeah, this one is cool. You just have to pursue some guys, which I will not say the names of so you guys don't get spoilers, throughout the 3 maps. And I won't say anymore, I won't say anything else. So that's basically the 8 minigames I mentioned, but as you know, I said 2 semi-minigames, so I'm gonna explain that now. So they are basically some important missions, but if you search online you'll find it under the minigames, but I don't consider them, because it's basically a race, and it's pretty cool part of the story, so it's not actually a minigame, you know, you can't actually access it on the open world or something like that. It's a mission. If you think the minigames is where the game actually shines, you are a little bit correct, but not only on that department, because Lightning McQueen is not the only character that we can play as. As you know, we played as Luigi for some minigames, and we can actually play as 10 different characters. Not only that, but all the characters are voiced by the original voice actors from the movies, which is just a nice touch. You want to know all the 10 characters we can play as? Okay, here we go. We can play as Lightning, Mater, Sally, Doc Hudson, Ramon, Flo, Sheriff, Chick Hicks, Wingo, and the King. Yeah, that on the open world, because you know, some missions have their specific characters to play as. Like, you can actually play as Lightning McQueen, but as a monster truck. You can play as Luigi, as I mentioned before, Boost, and DJ. Pretty cool, right? I mean, most game nowadays would make you pay to play as those characters, so hey, I mean, like, it's cool. Before I give you my opinion about the game, consider subscribing and joining us on this crazy adventure. It would mean the world to me. Enough about technicalities, and let's talk about my opinion on the game. Honestly, I thought it was pretty cool to be in that city that I grew up with and play as all those characters. The gameplay is quite good as well. The presence of all the minigames and the game not being too long helped the game not feel repetitive in my opinion, even though the Piston Cups are a little bit too long, but it's normal. I mean, I understand. All the minigames were fun. Even the collectibles one was cool to explore all the world and places I haven't haven't been yet, so that was cool as well. I know calling collectibles a minigame is kind of stupid, but that's on the game, it's not me. The game calls it that. The story itself is faithful to the universe, so that feels like a good addition, not just a random story that makes no sense, if you know what I mean. Again, I don't want to talk about it too much on this video because I want this video to be a spoiler free, at least for now. But what I can say is I actually enjoyed it. It had the humor of the movies that I grew up watching, so it was pretty cool. And obviously having the original cast perform the voice acting was just the cherry on top. So about that rating from Metacritic that I talked before, I would honestly give it a 95, because I don't see many ways of the game getting an improvement other than some bugs I've run into, so it was actually like excellent in my opinion. I played a lot of bad games and this one was not it. I'm not gonna sit here and repeat myself, but like I said, the story was pretty cool, it was faithful to the world. I think the fans would enjoy this game, it's a must play in my opinion. Before we end this video, I had the idea of putting the games on a tier list, so let's just do that really quick. And honestly, like I said, I think this game is goated, it's a must play, so I'm gonna put it on the top tier. And yeah, maybe nostalgia had a play on it, maybe not. I honestly enjoyed my time and that's it. This tier list is gonna be a personal tier list, right? So one last thing, if you're wondering how do I prove that I actually played these games and I'm not just here sitting talking about them, I actually have another channel with all the gameplay. It's in Portuguese, but it's still a way to prove that it is me playing, so hey, if you just have your doubt. I would play it in English, but it just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel natural, and I want to enjoy the games I'm playing, so playing it in Portuguese and recording in Portuguese is just a better way to go. All the games that are gonna go on this channel will be there, so you can always check it out if you understand Portuguese. Well, with all of that said, I really hope the next game is as good as this one, or, you know, at least good, please, bro. I know there's a lot of PS2 garbage out there, so I'm bound to encounter some of those, so hey, I don't know. If you want to know what the game is, just consider subscribing. Thank you. I really appreciate that, and you can also join me on this adventure of beating every PS2 game.